maturity. And, you know, I was always, do you understand? Now, my good side was like with you in Barbizon. Remember you and I talked about we were both in Barbizon as kids. I did modeling, and I went to Arthur Murray Dance Studio. So I also learned while I was a mother to be very effeminate, and I was in beauty contests, Miss Astro in Houston, and won contest about being beautiful. And, you know, so I knew how to be a woman, but I grew out of that in the 80s. So from 50 to the 80, I was very feminine because I had a innie. You know what I'm talking about, our gender on birth. So, but the older I got and the more masculine or leadership roles I was put in, not because I wanted to, and I always said that, but because I was 5'11", and in the military I weighed 176 with like 3% body fat, which was almost impossible for women. I had very skin on muscle, so I was a very masculine woman, but I was still beautiful, you know, in my looks. And there's pictures of me in my uniform, but that was the second time around. But, okay, so you and I are speaking as women, and I was asked that. Now, used to not people, when I grew up, there was only male and female. They didn't ask you on these applications. Now, what we're talking about in today's reality in 2021 with women working at home is helping us become more educated about how we speak. And I found this to be of importance because it is affecting our world in communication, information, education. And we have misinformation, disinformation, and information we have been sharing for years here. And Melinda, being a teacher, she's doing a good job at helping me and learn how we can address these words that are now part of, I guess, our reality. But can we go forward with this? It's transgender primer language is people that are of a group of people, I don't think they're paid. I would like to establish with you, Melinda, that people like us that don't get paid, that help do things, we pay for our own resources, and we do need, you know, people that help us, but everybody is used to getting paid a job's wage, and a lot of these people had no way to support themselves that were different, had to go into the sex work industry. With you being an educated teacher, how would you say that properly if you were in a brick and mortar educated, you know, teaching at Harvard or something up there? How would you address that? Because we know that they go out on the street for lack of jobs. People are not accepted anywhere. And it became, at least during the time, let's say RuPaul from Atlanta to New York to California, they knew about those 70s and the clubs, but fortunately disco music took off. I think music and entertainment saved RuPaul as, you know, an entertainer. But you mentioned, I love RuPaul, and you mentioned Cher's daughter. Did you ever get that feeling when you saw her on stage with Sonny and Cher? Now, you're, 20 or 30 years younger than me, but did you ever get to see Sonny and Cher with her? I remember when they first introduced her on their show. I made sure I was up to watch that. Do you remember when she came on the show with Sonny and Cher?
I don't think I saw it. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I saw it.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big Sonny and Cher fan, but I don't think I saw that.
Me too.
Yes, I love Cher. I love Lucy.
I got to meet Sonny and Cher and their mother, or Cher's mother. Yeah, I did. When they came to Houston, Texas, I was a beautiful teenager in the Houston Spinnerets and was in a red velvet outfit and a red cowboy hat. It's on YouTube. You can see it. And on my website somewhere, no, mostly YouTube's. But, yeah, I got to meet them and greet them as a Houston ambassador. And she was, you know, she didn't talk much. Her mother said hello, was friendly. But Bono, Sonny came over flirting with me, of course, talked about how tall and beautiful I was, to me personally, and I was embarrassed. So I looked at the lady that had it in our group if I could speak back because but I got to speak with him. And then he and I got to fly on a plane later in life. We crossed paths again while he was either a senator, governor, or mayor or something. Was out flying to California, and he and I sat next to each other on a plane. Isn't that strange? But going back to the gender identity, how we wear our clothes and how we wear, I'm tall, and for years, Melinda, I wore men's jeans with a big belt buckle, carried a knife on my hip, and, wore men's clothes and wore boots and cowboy hat driving a truck.
See, I'm very girly. I'm a girly girl. The only thing that probably don't look girly on me is my hair, because my hair is not as thick as it used to be. But when I put on a hairpiece or whatever, I'm all woman, I'm all girl.
Well, I am now, but then all I did was wore men's clothes for 8 years.
Yes, some people are different,
Yeah. Well, my mother asked me to stop wearing. She came and reformed me in Kentucky. And when I became, in 2004, I was a music producer and with CMA, Country Music Association, and International Bluegrass Music Association, and became a singer-songwriter, country, bluegrass, gospel, and helped with the Bill Monroe Foundation and Campbell Mercer and getting them in TV and with the county. And it was a wonderful thing in Ohio County. I wrote for the newspaper there. So I've done so many jobs. I've been fortunate. I've been blessed, Melinda, that wherever I went, I had at least 1, 2, or 3 jobs. I was one of those kind of people that had to stay busy. So it sounds crazy to people if they ever saw if I sat down in every city I've lived and put every job I've had, it would be amazing. And most of them weren't even paid. I would just take them to, like you said, to get the education, to learn how to do things, to meet people, to network, right? And so if I had to be masculine, I could do that job. My kids called me Superwoman because I was so strong. And if I had to be a beautiful woman and I've been at conventions where I just stand there and hand out samples to people, I'll be a taste tester. So there's all kind of jobs. But this gender system with what we're working with today, we didn't have to worry about offending people in all the jobs I had. So now I'm retired at home running a company in marketing, digital marketing, public relations, and talking on radio shows for 9 years and meeting people like you that can come help me figure all this out. So you being a teacher, can you help us with some of these things? Let's talk about this. What's next? D is I want to get to cross-dresser, but just cisgender. This people we're doing this because our face. We have to know. Oh, I like chosen family too. I'm scrolling down this list of words and definitions we're putting up because we're going to discuss this. What catches your eye? What catches your eye in the B's? Because we won't be able to handle everything. There's bisexual. Some of these.
Yeah, there's so many terms.
Well, there's some of them is we did birth assignment, didn't we? You signed at birth. Let's do bisexual. Now, why don't you read about that to us, and let's discuss that for a minute, because that's interesting.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, I got it. Hold on.
Okay. Let's talk about that possible definition of what that is to people. Because,
which one?
Education is important. It's in the B's. Do you have the A through Z list, or did you get it? Bisexual?
Yeah, hold on. 1 second.
I have the list pulled up that was under, let's see, we were talking about birth, and then binarism, an adjective referring to people, erasing, antagonizing people whose genders are outside of the gender binary. indigenous and colonized cultures, erasers of indigenous genders by colonialism, echoed in cultures
it's
worldwide.
very interesting. I mean, the stuff that it talks about, the primer does not include some terms that are generally considered offensive in order to educate folks on why these terms are not okay. So we have to make a generalization there that those terms will not be put in quotes to designate that they are complicated or inaccurate. So this primer also includes somewhat graphic description of common medical procedures in order to educate folks on what these procedures entail. And then we will designate these graphic descriptions with a content note in red text. So I guess they really come out and straight say what this is and what, so another thing is that we try to include that if it failed this on some level, please let us know. We can connect it. We want people to use this guide to be able to avoid potentially triggering descriptions if we can get help, if we can help it. So basically utilizing the language, the words with the right people and describing them. Here we have assigned gender at birth, and, it goes into that. And we have agender and goes into what an agender is in a variety of ways. Some gender people define their gender as being neither a man nor a woman, while others understand themselves as not having any gender at all. Now that's interesting, right, Teresa?
Yeah, and the bisexual is someone attracted to more than one or two or more genders. So it's what you're attracted to. Bisexuality basically has a history of people understood that they are sexually attracted to both men and women, but a growing understanding of gender. Wow. The definition of bisexuality has grown to encompass not only its historical meaning, but also a wide range of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Gee. So there's terms, but we can't intermingle them if we don't understand how to educate people on what it means. Now, through the years, just in terms and talk, I've had people ask me if I was bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was such a I was like, no, because I'm married and had children and I was assigned as a female, I don't cross over. I'm not bisexual, meaning I'm not attracted to women.
So they have the allosexual, which is allosexuality, someone who is not asexual. And it's someone who experiences sexual attraction irrelevant of whether or not they engage in any sexual behavior. That's really interesting right there. So an allosexual person experiences sexual attraction. Shepherd is allosexual. That's an example.
Are you allosexual? I'm not. I'm asexual.
I'm heterosexual.
You're what?
Heterosexual.
Oh, you're heterosexual. Well, that we hadn't got that far down yet.
But that's what I consider myself. I don't. This stuff is really, really, really some. It really gets in deep, boy. It's really interesting.
Well,
then the androgyne people define their gender in a ways of ways. Some androgyne people define their gender as being between men and women, while others understand themselves as being outside of the binary gender spectrum altogether. So how would you approach this person, Teresa?
Androgyny? I have friends that way. And
you do?
There's an androgynous. Yeah, there's a friend of mine. Well, I'm a contributor to his YouTube, Morg. I don't know his real name, but he looks. I met an albino